Call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Simsbury Technology Task Force. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the November 2nd meeting. Hope everybody had a chance to review those.
Make a motion to approve.
Well, if there are no edits, we can just by consent. If there are no issues with it, anybody have any issues with them? Hearing none, they will be adopted as submitted. Thank you for the motion. I appreciate that, Harold. All right. So it's been a fun ride as the chairman, but I am looking for the opportunity and looking forward to the opportunity of passing the torch. And Evan Marks, who I was hoping would be on this Zoom call, and maybe his absence is he's still pondering whether or not, so it's too late now. And Paul has thrown his hat in the ring to be the vice chair. Thank you, Paul. Paul, you have 30 seconds to change your mind.
Yeah, we're good.
Anybody have any issues with this, with our new slate? Questions, comments, concerns, complaints? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Good.
Like I said, it's been a fun ride, but I am insanely busy and way underwater, so and not doing this the justice it needs. This we will need a motion for, so I would like to entertain a motion to appoint Evan Marks as the chair and Paul Kelly as the vice chair.
I'll make a motion.
I'll go with Ray Rosati made the motion. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
John seconded. Any discussion?
I think he'll do a good job.
I think so too. I think they both will. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
And Mike, thank you so much for all of your years, I think, as chair.
It's been a while.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. Done a great job, Mike. Thank you.
I don't know about a great job, but I did my best.
Yes, you have.
Thank you.
And look at Evan joined.
Hey, here's Evan.
All right, now that Evan is here, I skipped
We
over
tell him?
our first agenda item. By the way, Evan, it's too late. You can't say no. We've already voted you in. But I just looked back at our agenda and I skipped my favorite part of my favorite parts of our agenda, and that is our Pledge of Allegiance. So can we just go back to that? I don't even know.
I think we need to.
All right. Well, I would like to do Pledge of Allegiance. So can I get to lead you one last time? A little technical camera move. The Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag
of the
United States of America,
the Republic,
which
which stands
a nation under God,
Under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Awesome. Sorry for the technical camera movements there. Evan, you got to get a big flag like that, by the way. Got to be hanging behind you.
You can just send it over to me.
Well, that one has sentimental value, so I'll see if I can find you. So unfortunately, we did just blow through our minutes and the appointment of chair and vice chair. In case you don't know, Evan, Paul Kelly had offered to be the vice.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm excited for you both, and I really appreciate you both stepping up.
I appreciate everything you have done for us. Through thick and through thin, we've been through a lot over the past year. So
Yes, we have. And, at some point we should just sit down and I can explain to you what I have in place and just, do some form of transition.
yeah.
Melissa, do you need to be involved in that, or how, can I just?
No, I don't need to be involved unless you'd like me to be.
It's pretty straightforward stuff. So it's a quick 5-10 minute phone call at most. And I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be around.
Oh, good. So you'll still be a member, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. All right, moving on. The shared services study. Bill, would you mind summarizing for us kind of where we're at?
Sure. I think attached to this agenda was the summary of the shared services survey responses that we received. And I actually was pretty amazed by the amount of information that it contained. And I know we had that. We also had Rick and Melissa and maybe Jason, I'm not too sure, but discussions with some of the respondents to the shared study and provided some good information. So I think in summary, if I were to say a couple of things in summary, and I think what I found was that there were no aha moments where we said, we, the town of Simsbury, are doing it wrong. We found that we were doing many things right. I think one area that we might have been a little lacking in is in terms of documentation of what the processes were and what the agreements were and how we handle things. So if I kind of broke it down and said, next steps for us would be to share our findings with the town and also with the Board of Ed, to say that these are areas that we should follow up on to better define what we are doing today and to make sure that everybody knows this is the way we handle things, and to make sure that the governance that we have in place, as well as the sharing that we have in place, and the decision-making that we utilize for things like platforms and things of that nature, that's well understood. And I think that would be some great next steps if we could do those with the town's approval. That would be great next steps for the IT organizations and the support that they provide. So I didn't know if you wanted to get into any more detail than that, or how'd you like to do it? But next steps sound like they need to be identifying for the town what we learned and also identifying those areas where we want to better document what we do.
That sounds good. I mean, one thing I noticed was some of the respondents were responding to shared services as sharing between multiple towns, and others were responding to it as sharing within the town. And I don't know if that was cleared up during any of the discussions that were had.
Yeah, I picked up on that too, Evan.
The towns that we had follow-up phone calls with, those were definitely those towns that share specifically between the town and the Board of Education, and that was the focus of our conversation with those specific towns.
Great.
I had a couple questions. So I read through the summary, and I came on board late, kind of after this had all been started and you guys had done a lot of work. But when I read through the document, the summarization, it appears that a lot of towns are, they have their, our Jason and our Rick report into like a CIO or like the assistant town manager, and basically share where they can, infrastructure or resources or skills. Now, that's not how we do it here, right? We have Melissa, I think, Jason, you report into Matt, I believe. Right. So are we, and then the summarization at the bottom was that the way we do it today is pretty much going to stay the way we do it today. We're kind of split, but when we internally see a need to come together and or meet in the middle, or we have some of the same things, then we work together. Did I read that correctly? That's the the summary and the end result. And forgive me, I did not listen to the meeting, so it probably was discussed in the subcommittee. But I just wanted to confer that we're not looking at restructuring, reorganizing how we are today. We're just going to kind of come together more, document and kind of understand who does what and where we overlap.
In the subcommittee, we were looking at writing some of it up as to what is being done now, so that in future, if there are changes, at least there's some structure ahead and a roadmap for people to follow.
Yep,
Go ahead.
Sorry, just because my understanding was, if anything, we're looking to document what's already in place. We're not changing.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so there's no, we're not changing how we're going to structure based on our findings. But it does seem like a lot of the other towns do have a different structure, correct? I mean, that's how I read the document, the summary.
I think that's a fair statement.
Okay, but we're saying, I guess it's not broken, it's working, don't try to fix it here.
It was difficult to see what we would gain for Simsbury by making that change. I think that becomes more apparent as we talk about the resources that we do share, and also the interaction on decisions that are being made on things like platforms. That's really where if there were some cost savings to be derived, that's where the cost savings are already coming from, is looking at that to make sure that if there's an opportunity to share a platform or to share resources, that we're doing that.
Okay.
And there's usually some
Both
good
are
reasons
different.
to
Board
decide
of Ed
not to share.
separate budget, right, than the town. And anything that's shared, understanding how that cost sharing would work across budgets. Something that needs to be discussed, right?
Right, if there's any allocation or charge that's associated with that, so that the costs go to the right areas.
Yeah, because that's one thing I noticed, that several of the towns had MOUs or memorandum of understanding between the Board of Ed and the town, and document what those understandings were as far as which services are provided across.
Yeah, I think what happens though, it's at a pretty high level that there's any, and I'll call it chargeback, but in many cases, it's just an allocation, how that is to occur. And most of the MOUs, or at least the two that we saw, seem to be pretty, I'm going to say old, in terms of 4 years or so in place. I didn't see any updates to that. And I think what happens is a lot can happen in 4 years, and whether or not that's still the way it's happening, I'm not sure.
Yeah, just to add on in response to your question, Wendy, I think it's just, I think it's an important first step because, as Bill said, the more we talked about it, the more we realize we are doing a lot of the things that other towns are doing that have a more formal arrangement. And I think at least getting a better handle, on what those things are that we do, because Jason and Rick can tell you all the things they do on a day-to-day basis that they're collaborating on, but until we formally document it and make it more part of our regular practice and understanding, I think that'll open the door for more opportunities for sharing.
Okay, I agree with that. Yeah, thanks, Melissa. It does.
I also think, for Jason and Rick, it's pretty amazing everything that is being accomplished at the level of staffing we have. So I think kudos to both of you.
Certainly would agree.
Absolutely. And, with the amount of collaboration that there is happening between Rick and Jason and their teams, a different, C-level command structure, leadership structure, sure, you might be able to squeeze a couple pennies out of, they might, obviously they're going to be able to dive deeper and potentially wring out some cost savings, but at what cost, right? I mean, those C-level roles are pretty pricey. And, sometimes finding talent is also challenging. So, considering what they're tasked with on a regular basis.
I mean, have there been some large areas of disagreement where you needed someone to make a decision? I haven't seen that.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of that question.
Yep. Has there been a level of disagreement between you and Rick where you needed somebody above you to kind of make a decision?
Nothing jumps to mind in recent memory. Rick, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a Giant fan, and I think you're a Jet fan, so we disagree right there.
Saints.
No, actually, to answer that question, Evan, is we've actually seen eye to eye on a lot of stuff. I mean, there's one thing that happened a couple of years ago. We were looking to drive the library to Citrix platform, and we talked about it with Jason and I, and just the overall district and what the town was doing. So we just laid off and put it on the brakes and said, if we're going to go anywhere with that virtualization, and the library is on the dashboard, that would just probably stay with VMware. And that's just how we came across it. And it does make sense because it's across the district, it's across the town. So why have a pocket of this technology, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent? So,
and we now have a steering committee meeting where Rick, Melissa, I, and previously Burke had get together and hash these things out. So I don't really see anything rising to the level of we need a judge to make a decision. Hear both sides of our cases and rule on it.
And I see this group as kind of a sounding board for both of you. And that's kind of what we're here for.
Yep.
That's exactly where I was going to head, Evan. So well said.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Bill, I getting back to your next steps. Can you please share those with the group again, and we can
Sure.
talk those through?
Yeah, I thought there were 4 things that we needed to do, 3 of which support the 4th and then stay in place. The 3 things that we need to do in order to get to the 4th one, I believe, is to kind of summarize what we've learned. So, we've done the survey, we've had discussions, we've talked about it in our team here and with the group task force. We need to summarize that and share that with the town. This may be where we learned that's not what the town was looking for, but this is exactly what we found. And then with that, the underlying information is this is what we currently share today. So to document that. And that's something that could change from year to year or month to month, depending on what the need is. I know we share a couple of resources or the time from a couple of resources between the 2 areas. We also share platforms and share the decision-making around those platforms. And then, as you folks just described, I think, Jason, you walked us through it with help from Rick, there is a group that meets that I would call governance, and maybe that's not that well defined, but could be better defined, to talk about this is how we govern, this is how decisions are made, and if there's a difference of opinion, where that gets resolved without the need for a CIO. And it actually serves another benefit that group that meets, and maybe there's a term for it, Jason, and I didn't catch it. But if that group also provides the voice of the end user, the voice of the business organization or the educational organization, to make sure that those are the priorities that are being met. And if there was any, reason why that priority needed to change, this would be the group that would change it.
Yeah, and I think, Bill, you hit on another point here that really isn't documented. And I think the reason for the MOU and the documentation of those is like the steering committee, it's out there, but it's pretty much, it's word of mouth that we've been holding together. So it's a good platform at this point to really inject that into the MOU, where it is part of the agreement, which we've been doing all along, but it's just never been documented so people understand what's happening.
Right.
Really just a matter of formalizing what's been done informally in the past.
Right.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So the summary to the Board of Selectmen, and I believe that's our target for the summary, right?
Correct.
Yeah. That one obviously is going to require a little bit of time and some participation from our group. The documentation of the existing, systems and processes, if you will, that seems like a bit of a heavy lift. And that is that back out to subcommittee, and are we doing that? Are we, is that something where we're asking Jason and Rick, whose time is really pretty tight, for a lot of help from, and Melissa for help from? Like how do we go about the documenting that needs to get done?
Perhaps we could start off at a higher level. I know their time is tight, but at some point we probably will need to get some pretty detailed process in place. But the documentation of what is in place today in terms of what do we share and how do we at a high level make decisions, bringing together the needs of both organizations. If we can identify that, I think we've got enough then to go back and to go to the I'm going to keep calling them the management team, but for the town and for the board, so that they would understand what they already have in place and see if they agree with us that that's enough. I think I walked away with the feeling that another role, just as you said, another role, the role of a CIO or regardless of what the title became, that seemed to be overhead, and maybe another area where there would be conflict. So I think what's working today seems to be working. So I think sharing that with the board is the way to go.
Perhaps if a subcommittee of this group could put together a sample or a format of what that type of document would look like, Rick and I could then take that and fill in the detail.
All right. Would it be okay then if I volunteered to put together an outline for that and see if that was something where you could fill in some of the blank space?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That'd be awesome, Bill. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Any other comments?
Yeah, I have one famous QC guy that worked for me used to say, document what you do and do what you document, and then you'll be perfect.
Yeah. Keep it
Sure.
Right. And in terms of timing, our next meeting is, I think, early January, right? So, if we had it for the next meeting, would that be okay?
Seems reasonable given the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
As far out as you want to make it.
I'd like to see this get done. We've been
Fair
working on this.
Hey,
You could
Bill,
always send it to a subcommittee to take a, second set of eyes on it.
Oh, definitely. I want to have it for the subcommittee first. Yeah.
That would be great. I think that that's a solid course.
Great.
Anything else that we should be talking about for the next meeting?
One thing that seems to be coming up, and I've talked to some other folks who are in similar committees in other towns, I guess, with 5G coming around, I guess there's something known as Firstnet for first responders. The different cellular providers are providing programs for towns for first responders, and I don't know if that's anything we look into.
Actually, Evan, I think, I know the fire department is using FirstNet pretty much for most of their senior leadership and line officers. They've been, I think that's the AT&T program.
Yeah,
They've
it
been on
is.
that for over a year.
Oh, great.
I would presume the public safety committee in town would be driving that across, like police and EMS, I would think.
Yeah, I guess 5G, the whole idea of what towers are in town and increasing that coverage as well.
Well, I think 5G is another
It's another aspect.
enhancement. It's another enhancement, really, to the FirstNet thing. That's an AT&T. I don't recall now if it is 5G compatible just yet. But
Yeah, law enforcement is on that as well. It's just really, that's really geared just for public safety, first responders. The town is on that, and that just works on, not so much on 5G, it's a 900 megahertz band that they have specifically for them. And that's pretty much how it works. So I don't know any takeaways of what 5G is going to give FirstNet.
Right. Okay. Just thought I'd bring it up.
No, it's good.
Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I
Mike,
want to know how Evan Mark seems to be sitting up in the sun on top of Talcott Mountain next to the Hugh Line Tower.
Actually standing in the dark in my office, but
He's
the glare of
chief guy, right?
it's the glare of the second monitor.
Is it a large mural?
Yeah, he's the chair now.
It's great. It's Zoom technology. You can change your background.
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
he's trying to project a lofty position.
Well, he's doing a great job of it.
I encourage you guys and gals to check out your Zoom settings. You can remove wrinkles. You can change backgrounds. You can do all kinds of fun.
Yeah, you just need a green screen.
Yeah, that's me.
And I can put, here's the flower bridge.
There you go.
All right.
Nice.
Nice.
I have to have all kinds of Simsbury pictures for the background.
Or a giant flag.
Giant flag will work. Yeah.
Mike, I just quickly just to introduce myself, because I don't know a lot of people on this task force, since this is my first meeting and I'm told it will not be my last meeting. I'm representing the Board of Ed. My name is Brian Watson. So nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
Welcome.
Yeah, sorry, Brian. One, we go to church together, so I knew you and just forgot that everybody else in the world doesn't know you. And two, we knew you were coming in ahead of time. So.
Okay. I sent Susan Selena an email when I got notification like a week or two ago, and I'm like, is this a mistake or am I supposed to be on it? And she said, nope, you're on it. So I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. We're glad to have you.
I'm the only one not wearing glasses.
Wow. That means you can,
These are a recent addition to my face, and I am still getting used to them. Driving me nuts.
Same. This came about from COVID.
All the glare, people. Jeez.
Yeah, well, and when you combine this, you can't see anything anyway. So the two don't go together well at all. In any case, I wish you all, happy holidays, and we'll see you on the flip side of the new year. And I would love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Seconded by Harold, who was quick on the draw. Any discussion?